Good afternoon, welcome to TwoDaysFootball.com. Today we're going to talk about a man-to-man robber coverage that we like to run out of a 4-3 defense. So before we talk about the main concepts of the defense, we're first going to talk about how we want our defenders aligned to the offensive players. First, we tell our corners, our defensive backs, we want them 1 yard outside of the number one receiver because we want them to force action or flow back to the center of the field. That is where their help is. Then we talk to our linebackers, and we tell our linebackers that we want them to have leverage to also force flow back to the center of the field. So we tell them to take their inside leg and have it split down the center of the receiver that they're lined up on. So as you can see in the diagram above, we have our corners outside 1 yard outside the number one receivers, and we have our linebackers manned up on their number two receiver with their inside foot splitting them in half so that they have leverage to that side. Once our stud and our will are lined up on the number two receivers, we tell our Mike backer that he has to take the number three receiver. So after our corners are manned up on the number one receiver and our stud and will are manned up on the number two receiver, our Mike is going to line up on the number three receiver, and our base rule in our robber defense is to have the safety opposite of the Mike backer, the safety opposite of the number three receiver, to roll down in robber coverage. So as you can see in the diagram above, the number three receiver is the running back in the backfield lined up offset to the left side of the screen. So the safety away from that is going to roll down into the box to make sure that he fills the open gap. Now we make this a base rule because anytime a offense sees us in this type of coverage, they're going to see a bubble in the defense. And what we want to do is roll down an extra safety into the box to void that bubble. So as you can see in this illustration, I've marked off where the bubble in the defense would be and how we would roll down our safety opposite of the number three receiver to void the bubble that is marked off in this type of defense. This base rule has been very successful for us because anytime they see us go in man coverage, what they want to do is attack that open bubble with either the running back or the quarterback, and we're able to get our safety down into the box very quickly. What we do with the opposite safety is we send him over to the top, and he has man free, and he's looking to either attack downhill on run or pick up the open receiver and make sure that nobody gets behind him. The next situation we'd like to talk about is crossing routes. Anytime offenses see us run a man-to-man coverage, what they want to do is run crossing routes with a low crosser and a high crosser. Now, the way we defend is sticking with our base rule is rolling down our strong safety away from the number three receiver, which in this case has to be the strong safety. And what we want him to do is that our robber is going to jump the underneath crosser, and being that the free safety is over the top of him, he's going to jump the high crosser. The great thing about running this coverage versus crossing routes is that initially it's going to look open because of the outside leverage that we have with our stud and will, but a lot of offenses don't know that we're running robber coverage to the inside, which leaves us with two guys open to jump the crossing routes. Now, in the last slide, I did talk about how we would defend crossing routes with our robber coverage in our base set. This is something that we do when we want to game plan against teams that run crossing routes against us. Well, if we are able to game plan against a team that does run these routes, we actually want to switch our responsibilities to run opposite coverage. So as you can see in this example, our free safety is going to be the robber and our strong safety is going to go over the top. If we can rob the underneath route with the opposite side safety and get over the top of the top crosser with our opposite safety, it doesn't allow us to get in chase mode, and we're actually able to defend it better. Again, this is something that we do when we know we can game plan against somebody that runs a lot of crossing routes against us. Although, as I mentioned before, we can continue to run our base robber coverage against any type of offense.